Hello and welcome to this week's TeeTime Results show, a roundup of the games that the societies have played, the winners, the special mentions and an update of what's going on and how you can get involved. Okay, so we started with our June Club de Golf competition, which was on the Wednesday the 18th of June. Obviously a World Handicap qualifying game. We had a good uptake of numbers and we paid out to 10 places because we had a very generous sponsor. Okay, so places 1 to 10. In first place with 43 points, Susan Lyons. With 40 points in second place, Neil Smith. Followed by third place, Ina Ellingsether with 39 points. Then we had 3 people with 38 points. The result was decided on countback. Dave Hackett, Colin Reid and Pam Andrew. And then in 7th place and 8th place and 9th place, all on 37 points, Keith Halliwell, Dave Mitchell, Trev Andrew, and then in 10th place with 36 points, Ron Porter. Nearest the pins on hole 3, Terry Colvin. On hole 5 and hole 11, Kieran McGibney. And hole 13, Dave Hackett. And hole 8 into Colin Reid. We had 5 twos winners, Steve Gill, Kieran McGibney, Joe Bennett, Terry Colvin and Susan Lyons. Our next competition is on Thursday the 17th of July. The sign-up sheet is in the golf shop now, so if you want to get involved, please come and get your name down. Okay, just jumping back a day to the Tuesday, Sprightly Golf Society played on Tuesday the 17th of June when they played a Pinehurst with 2 to score on the front 9 and 3 to score on the back 9. Okay, it was a team game. So in first place, Keith Humphrey, Tim, Gavin and Spencer Truman with 120 points. And in second place, Jim Hall, Glenn Trigg, Mick Drummond and Phil Houghton with 110 points. In third place, Dave Mitchell, Pete O'Brien, Brian Arnold and Joe Bennett with 108 points. Nearest the pin on hole 3, Chippy Mick. Nearest the pin on hole 5, Glenn Trigg. On hole 11 and hole 13, Keith Humphrey. And nearest the pin in 2 on 8, Gavin. Okay, Wednesday Golf Association obviously didn't play because it was the Club de Golf competition. So we move on to Thursday Friendly Golf Society, which is run by Jim Hall. They played a 2 scores to count, obviously a team game again. In first place, Bob Evans, Dave Mitchell and Pete Constable with 93 points. In second place, Jim Chapman, Jim Hall and Spencer Truman with 92 points. And in third place, Steve Gill, Keith Bilton and Steve Carter with 86 points. Nearest the pin on hole 3, Old Git Bob Evans. Nearest the pin on hole 5, Dave Mitchell. On hole 11, nobody, everybody missed the green. And on hole 13, the Old Git Bob Evans jumped in again. Well done, Bob. Then we move on to Saturday, the 21st of June. The Saturday Clubhouse Society played a World Handicap qualifying game. So obviously just an individual game. The winner with fantastic 45 points, Alan Hebblethwaite. In second place with 41 points, Ian Pragnall. Third place with 37 points, Walt Ireland. And in fourth place with 36 points, Glenn Trigg. Nearest the pin on hole 5, Ian Pragnall. On hole 11, Hebby. On hole 13, Chris Bye. And hole 4 into Steve Haynes. Following them were Cat's Bar, run by Kieran McGibney, and they played a Pinehurst game. Team game again. In first place, John Leyland, Baz Elmore, Dave Hackett, Luke Sharp with 101 points. And in second place, Marius Bruiser, Dave Griffiths, Norman Morgan and Keith Halliwell with 100 points. Just one nearest the pin on hole 13, Dave Hackett, and 2 twos, Norman Morgan and Keith Halliwell. Black Bull Society played on Sunday the 22nd and they played an individual Stableford. Individual game, first place, Des Watts with 33 points. Second place, also on 33 points on countback, Paul Carter. And in third place with 32 points, Lauren Smithy. Only 1-2, Paul Carter on the 5th hole with a putt from off the green. Very well done. Incidentally, Catsbar are moving to 8:02 tee times from the following week because obviously the heat is affecting numbers. Following them, Sunshine Golf Society, run by Rob Greatley, played a reverse waltz. The team winners were Rob Greatley, Ian Butters, Mary Armitage and Trev Andrew with 100 points. Nearest the pin on hole 3, Ian Butters. On hole 5, Dennis Jones. Hole 11, Ron Porter. Hole 13, Mary Armitage. And into on 8, Ian Butters. 2-2s, Rob Greatley and Dennis Jones. Okay, so Tuesday the 24th of June, Las Gaviotas played a highest and lowest scores to count. The team in first place with 64 points, Hayley Barker, Irene Langley, Susan Lyons and Mary Armitage. And second place with 60 points, Alison Vasey, Mags Ray, Pam Andrew and Ron Porter. Nearest the pin on hole 3, Irene Langley. On hole 5, Alison Vasey. Hole 11, Susan Lyons. And hole 13, Hayley Barker. 2-2s, Alison Vasey and Hayley Barker. Okay, following them, Sprightly Golf Society played a Texas Scramble. They had a team game in first place with 57.4 net, excellent score. Camille Vertonghen, Phil Helton, Pete Evans and Jim Chapman. Second place with 59.3 net, Thomas McQuilter, Ernie Milford, Jim Hall and Ray Lyons. And third place with 59.8, so very close, Dave Bennett, Keith Humphrey, Alistair Ray and Ian Pragnell. Nearest the pin on hole 3 and hole 13, Harry Pearson. On hole 5, Glenn Trigg. Hole 11, Camille Vertonghen. And hole 8 into Les Skipsey. Wednesday Golf Association, run by Eugene Toy, played a Stableford 3-2-1 to score. In first place with 85 points, John Leyland, Steve Cronk and Dave Oakes. And in second place with 82 points, Des Watts, Kieran and Trev Andrew. They were followed by Thursday Friendly Golf Society, who played a yellow ball joker. Team in first place with 161 points, Brad Keeling, Jordan Keeling, Hebby and Phil Helton. Second place with 159 points, Jim Hall, Keith Humphrey, Spencer Truman and Dave Bennett. And third place with 150 points, Glenn Trigg, Martin Geary, Camille Vertonghen and Tom Davis. Nearest the pins on hole 3, Spencer Truman, on hole 5, Martin Geary, and hole 11 and hole 13, Ernie Milford. Back to Saturday, Clubhouse Golf Society played a Pinehurst, 2 to score on par 5s, 3 to score on par 4s and all to score on par 3s. Team in first place with 152 points, Gordon Nielsen, Ian Pragnell, Pete Constable and Steve Carter. Second place with 135 points, Glenn Trigg, Jerome Dooley, Thomas McQuilter and Steve Haynes. Nearest the pin on hole 3, it was very close. Jordan Keeling, virtually a hole in one. I think he was very lucky to get away with that one. On hole 5, Gordon Nielsen, hole 11, Ian Pragnell, and hole 13, Walt Island. Catsbar played a Texas Scramble on Saturday the 28th of June. Team in first place, Norman Morgan, John Layden and Luke Sharp with 62.3 net. In second place, Steve Adams, Keith Halliwell and Kieran McGibney with 62.7 net. Just 2 nearest the pins on hole 5 and hole 13, Norman Morgan. Well done, Norman. On to Sunday the 29th of June, Black Bull played a World Handicap qualifier. In first place with 33 points was Dave Smith. In second place with 28 points, John Keane, and in third place with 26 points, Ian Stevenson. And finally, on Sunday the 29th of June, Sunshine Golf Society played a virtual pink ball. Team in first place, Paco Belchi, Ina Ellingsether, Irene Langley and Gary Davis on 167 points. And second place, Dennis Jones, Ian Butters, Bob Lawrenson and Hayley Barker with 150 points. Nearest the pin, hole 3, Pam Andrew. Nearest the pin, hole 5, Colin Reid. Nearest the pin on hole 11, Ina Ellingsether. On hole 13, Mary Armitage. Hole 8 in 2, Dennis Jones. And hole 15 in 3, Mary Armitage. Okay, so that's the results. If you're interested in playing with any of the societies mentioned, please get in touch with the golf shop and they'll connect you with the relevant captain. Also, if you'd like your society featured on our results show, get in touch and we'll let you know how you can get involved. Okay, that's enough of that. Okay, so joining me in the studio today is Rob Greatleaf.
Hi Hayley.
Hi Rob.
Hi everybody at home again. Nice to be back.
Okay, and what are we going to be talking about today, Rob?
Well, we were going to talk about etiquette on the course.
We're going to talk about etiquette on the course. Okay, let's start with very basic stuff.
Okay.
Okay, so let's start with clothing.
Right, okay.
Okay, now obviously in the past the clothing has been very, very strict about what you can and can't wear.
Yeah.
Okay, so where are we now with...
Well, I mean, in certain golf courses, certainly in the UK, it's still very strict. But the professional game even has moved forward in a more modern way now. So things like hoodies and jogging bottoms and all that sort of thing are being allowed now. So if we're talking about camposol specific,
yeah.
Okay, so the rules have been relaxed recently, a little bit. Now. Paco's decided that he'll allow round neck t-shirts as long as they're single colour, no emblems on the front.
Yeah, so like no football shirts, no sports promotion.
Like yeah. Because obviously we get a lot of holiday makers here, and they don't always come with the correct clothing.
Yeah, that was the point that I was going to raise actually, because you get a lot of people sort of coming to the course.
Yeah.
Coming on holiday, staying with family, and they kind of think, oh yes, I'd love to have a game of golf.
Yeah.
But they don't necessarily have the right attire.
No.
And I think, I got the impression that Paco's been a little bit more lenient with allowing people to not necessarily have to wear the correct golf clothes, golf shoes, or a collared shirt.
No, I mean now you're pretty much allowed to wear trainers, as long as they're as long as they're not going to damage the putting surfaces or whatever.
Yeah.
They pretty much allow trainers.
Yeah.
I mean, I have to draw the line somewhere.
Yeah.
We've had a few people, especially ladies, turn up with crop tops and things like that on, which obviously,
really?
which obviously you can't allow that. But I think the whole etiquette around golfing, around clothing, at camposol now is a little bit more relaxed.
A little bit more relaxed.
Yeah.
And I guess if somebody turns up in the wrong attire, maybe they just get like a warning the first time and just don't do it again, and then but we don't want to be turfing people off the golf course.
I mean, obviously if it's extreme, then you've really got to be firm and say you can't be, or we've got some clothing in the shop that can be sold. So.
Good point.
But I mean, in general, you don't want to lower standards too much because then people will lower them even further, and then we'll get to a point where which we don't really want.
Yeah, it's a fine line, isn't it?
Absolutely.
Yeah. Okay. So that's clothing. So then, right, okay, so now we're moving into the summer months now.
Right.
Now, normally tea times are 10 minutes apart. They have been 10 minutes apart.
Yeah.
Yeah. They've just recently been reduced to 8 minutes.
They have, yeah.
Okay. Is that to encourage more people onto the golf course?
Yeah, well, I mean...
what is the actual reason?
Well, I mean, if you think about it, if you reduce tea times to 8 minutes, effectively you can get one more group onto the course per hour.
Yeah.
So over a period of 8 hours, that's 8 more groups. That's more revenue for the course.
Yeah.
It's a good thing.
Yeah.
The other thing as well is that a lot of golf courses where their first hole is a short par 4 or a par 3, then you need 10 minutes. Because obviously if a par 3, people got to clear the green. If it's a short par 4, probably the same thing actually.
Yeah.
But at camposol, we've got a fairly long par 4. Once people have played their second shot, that's only going to take 8 minutes. I actually think it's quite a sensible move.
Yeah. But of course, that then brings into play the need for speed of play, just keeping the game going.
Yeah.
And we already have a rule, a 3-minute rule, where if you're looking for your ball, you've got 3 minutes to find it, and then you have to move on. And that's to make sure that the game flows and the people behind you are not getting held up.
Yeah, I mean, in general terms, if you're playing in a group, you should always be trying to keep up with the group in front.
Yeah.
You should never let the group in front get away. If they start to get away from you, then obviously you know we've got to speed up.
Yeah.
To try and keep up with the group in front. And if everybody does that, then the course runs smoothly.
Yeah. I mean, in an ideal world, that'd be perfect. You know.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. But I mean, you will get times where somebody's got to look for their ball.
Yeah.
Even if you've got, say, 3 or 4 players in a group and 4 players have got to look for the ball, you're going to lose time. What you've got to try and do is in the next 2 or 3 holes, if you've got to try and catch up.
Try and make the time up.
Try and catch up with the group in front.
Yeah. And also, if you play in a format where, you know, for instance, Stableford, you know, where you can't score on a hole, pick your ball up. Yeah.
So I mean, the highest score for a Stableford score is a net bogey. You can score 1 point. If you know you're going to score net double bogey, from that point on, pick the ball up.
Yeah. I know there's a temptation for some people, particularly non-members, if they pay their green fee, you know, there's a temptation to say, I'll pay my money, I'm going to play the course.
Do understand that.
You know, you can understand it, but, you know, you have to be aware of, if you've got to see a group behind you, you know, and you can see them waiting on the tee, and you know you can't score, you've got to use a little bit of common sense. And
I mean, the other alternative obviously is when if you've caught the group in front up and they're on the tee and you know you're going to wait, then there's no problem with carrying on the play. You know, you've got to use a little bit of common sense.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. So obviously on some of the holes, we were just talking about waiting to tee off there. You know, there are certain holes on camposol where you can't tee off until you can see that the group in front are safe.
Yeah, we've got some blind.
I mean, for instance, hole 4.
Yep.
You know, we've got a perfect tiger line over the trees, which I know a lot of people will go for.
Yeah, including myself.
But you can't.
Including
yourself. But you can't see where the players in front are because of the trees. So, you know, where do you make that decision?
Well, I think if you're sensible, then one person in the group just walk out to the right hand side so they can see around the corner. And then once they're happy it's clear, then you can go.
Yeah.
I mean, the alternative is to let the people who can't take the tiger line go first.
Well, that's the other thing, and that tends to happen a lot, certainly with the ladies when they play, because me, for instance, when I'm playing hole 4...
Yeah. Well, you take the tiger line, do you?
I don't take the tiger line. I don't know. No, I just go to somewhere that I can see it, and then I know it's safe. But yes, I wouldn't bother take. So let the people who don't hit the ball quite so far take their drive first. By that time, hopefully, the team in front will have cleared.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's the whole idea of ready golf, to be honest.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you're waiting for the honour, and then somebody with the honour who takes the tiger line. So ready golf. The whole idea of ready golf was basically to speed up play.
Yeah.
So that's
I mean, we can talk about ready golf now. Ready golf, and you know the different formats.
One thing I would say about ready golf is, although people walk faster than other people, it's still not correct etiquette to walk in front and play your ball. You should still stay as a group, basically.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So if your ball is 20 yards further ahead, you shouldn't be walking 20 yards ahead just to play your ball because you walk fast.
Yeah.
Because that's bad etiquette.
Yeah, no, I agree, and that's my understanding. Everybody must stand behind the person whose ball is.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Who's taken the first shot. Yeah. So I mean, just continuing with that subject on sort of ready golf. I think most of the formats that we play on camposol, apart from match play, we play ready golf, don't we?
Yeah. I think even with our monthly competitions.
Yeah.
Nobody tends to stick to the honour. It's not necessary, but in match play is part of the rules.
It's part of the rules. Yeah, yes.
The player furthest from the hole must always play first.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's part of the rules.
Yeah, and also when you're taking your tee shot as well in match play.
Yep.
It's the person who won
the previous hole.
Or the previous hole. Or who takes. Yeah. Obviously, if it's a
Yeah, the honour must always be kept in match play. Yeah. That's just part of the game.
Yeah. But other than that, it's just ready golf. Yeah.
Absolutely, yeah. And we should all embrace that really, because the idea is to speed up play.
So just going back to the different holes where you've got sort of blind spots, if you like. You know, you've got a similar one on hole 6.
Yep.
You know, you shouldn't be teeing off until the group in front have gone round the corner, because again, you've got another tiger line there potentially.
Yeah, potentially.
It's a bit of a you know,
Yeah, I
you
mean,
need to be a big hitter.
I
But
certainly would suggest you waited until people have moved away
yeah,
from playing the second shot, so that they're not in view.
yeah,
Yeah, definitely.
And again, another couple of holes, probably 12. Sorry, not 12. Because we've got the bell on 12 on hole 10.
Hole 10.
Probably need to allow people to clear.
Yeah, I mean,
and go sort of onto the green before taking.
Yeah, I mean, I always wait until people have played their shot and have started to go
around the water.
Yeah, you really should be waiting until it's clear on hole 10, definitely. Yeah.
Okay. Which brings us on to an interesting subject, and that is 4.
4?
Okay, 4.
Ah, the shout 4.
Yeah, the shout 4.
Okay.
Because obviously, you know, we do have certain holes where, you know, you might hit the ball, it doesn't go exactly where it was supposed to go.
Yeah.
You know, you might have hit it for whatever reason before people have cleared the area that they're supposed to. So we shout 4.
Yeah. If you believe the ball is going towards any person standing on the course, you should always shout 4.
Yeah.
A lot of people don't do that because they're embarrassed.
Yeah.
They don't like shouting.
Just the shouting.
Yeah,
thing,
absolutely. Yeah.
Not the fact that they hit the ball wrong. It's just they don't like shouting.
They don't like shouting 4.
Yeah,
but when you think about it, a golf ball hit at speed can cause a lot of damage.
Yeah.
So if you believe the ball is going towards a group of players, then please shout 4.
Yeah. And where did this come from? Where's 4 derived from?
Well, there's a few suggestions where it comes from, but I think the most plausible one is, I mean, in the 1800s, golf was played by people who had money because it was a very expensive game to play.
Yeah.
So all equipment was quite expensive. Golf balls, in particular, were quite expensive, and so the gentry used to employ the peasants to find the ball for them after they'd hit it.
Which would have been their caddies.
Yeah, they had obviously had caddies to carry their clubs, but they had what they called 4 caddies to stand where they thought the ball was going to land.
Yeah.
And wait until they'd hit the ball, and then they would shout to the 4 caddy and point in the direction
of where they thought the ball had gone, so that the 4 caddy could track it.
And find it.
Yeah.
And over a period of time, 4 caddy got reduced to 4. So they just shout 4 for the 4 caddy.
Yeah.
And over time, that is why we shout 4.
And this was, I believe, in Scotland. Was it?
It's Scotland, yeah.
Because didn't golf originally come from Scotland?
Yeah, in 1827, the first recording of somebody referring to the person who looked for the ball as a 4 caddy was in 1827 when a guy called Mr. Tytler.
I knew you knew this.
from Woolenhoe.
Yeah, and you knew where he was from.
Told a club maker called Andrew Dixon that he'd 4 caddied for the Duke of York at Leith Golf Club.
Oh.
That's the first mention of 4 caddy.
Yeah.
So that's why we shout 4.
Okay, interesting. I had a vague idea of what it was about, but I've never shouted it, obviously.
Really?
Yeah, straightforward, down the fairway.
Have you ever had a ball come in towards you at speed?
Yes, I have.
And it's very frightening.
It's very frightening. I had one on the second hole.
Okay.
Playing with one of our Spanish friends,
right,
Geronimo.
Right.
He was hitting the ball. It was just in front of the bridge on the second, which those of you who know the second well will know what I'm talking about. I was standing behind him, as per etiquette, and he hit the ball, and it hit the bridge, and it literally came, well, I just had to do an Avatar moment like that, and it just went sweeping past my ear. So, it was close.
I mean, I've had one experience on my golf club in the UK. We played hole 3 was a fairly short par 4, and hole 5, which was a long par 5 we'll obviously use a driver, come towards you in the opposite direction, and you couldn't really. It was a slight brow, and you couldn't necessarily see people. And somebody took their driver, and it was going towards where we were standing on the 3rd hole, and really they should have shouted 4, but they didn't. And the ball literally went past my face, about that far away, and it was frightening. It's quite a scary experience.
Yeah, can cause a lot of damage.
Absolutely,
yeah. Okay. Right, well, thank you, Rob.
You're welcome.
Yeah, a bit more history.
Another history lesson from Rob Grady, by the way. Yeah.
Thank you very much, Rob. Hopefully that gives you a little bit more insight. I hope you found it interesting, and maybe it's given you a few things to think about. Thanks for watching. I look forward to seeing you here again on Camposol TV's Tea Time. Bye for now. Thank you, Rob.
Bye.
Bye-bye.